Hello, hello. Welcome to From Impossible to Inevitable. I am your host, Megan Bauer. Thank you so much for joining me today and pushing play on today's episode. This is episode 172, and this one needs to be said. I have been talking a lot about habits as I've been gearing up for the opening of my first program, the Transformational Habit. And something that keeps coming to my mind as something that just needs to be said is when it comes to a habit, especially when it comes to establishing this habit, you have to train yourself to acknowledge the difference between allowance versus excuses. Life is life. Life is always going to give us opportunities to be our best. It's always going to give us opportunities to choose who we are going to be. It's always going to give us opportunities to choose to be the person we have been or to be uncomfortable, to grow, and to become the person we want to be. That's just how it is. Life is going to give us these opportunities. And there is a big difference between allowance, or what I'm calling allowance, and what I'm calling excuses. So when life does something like, you're sick or something else happens outside of your control and it knocks you on the ground, it just puts you out and you're not in this regular routine of things, something maybe you didn't even see it coming, maybe you did see it coming, but whatever, you have an opportunity to decide if you are going to continue, like, come hell. I keep messing up this phrase. I've been trying to say it again and again, and this is like my go-to phrase. Come hell or high water, come hell or high water, I am going to do this thing. It doesn't matter what life throws at me. I have decided this is non-negotiable. We are doing this thing. There is so a place for that because that is like determination and willpower at its finest. But that's not always what's called for. That's not always the energy that things need to be done in. Sometimes, yes, that is a no excuses. I am doing this thing vibe. It's a great vibe. It's not the all the time vibe because sometimes you need to give yourself an allowance. You need to allow yourself to chill out, to it's okay to miss a day, to it's okay to not. It's okay to give yourself a break. It's okay. Chill out. You're a human being. One day, one choice, whatever, isn't going to make it or break it. Take a breath, take a seat, gather yourself and, recoup, and then we can get back at it. Because we can exhaust ourselves in just doing, in just, being bullheaded about it and not taking the break when our body needs the break, when our mind needs the break, when just circumstances are telling us that we need to sit down. We can exhaust ourselves if we don't listen to those external cues. If you don't listen to what your body needs, if you don't listen to what your mind needs, what your emotions need. And the other thing I want you to consider about that is that it can be kind of a pride thing too. We were like, nope, I'm the person who doesn't miss a day. I'm the person who doesn't whatever, even when maybe you should. Because we get on this, like, we place our worth or our value on never giving ourselves any slack, even when we deserve the slack, even when the things outside of our control are telling us to just take a little break, just to take a step back. And then we can take this too far, where every little thing is an excuse. Oh, I can't, I, I can't follow through on the thing because this happened and then this happened and now whatever. Like I just need a break and we're just too overwhelmed and, we won't push through. That side can be a problem too. If we refuse or if we choose not to push through, even when we could. I have to be pretty darn sick in order to not get up and run through my routine. And there are days when I'm really that sick that I don't get up and run through my routine. There are days when it's like, man, I had such a hard day and, I didn't sleep well that night or whatever. And I have kind of built in an allowance with my morning routine where it's like, I get up, I do the thing, that is fairly non-negotiable. If I decide not to get up, I decide that the night before, but it's pretty non-negotiable to me to get up. However, once my morning routine is complete, then I can go back to bed. And I do that sometimes. I do that when I need to take a break. I do that when life is stressful or hard or my sister passes, right? Like I do allow myself to go back to bed once my morning ritual has been complete. That is kind of like my built-in allowance where I feel like I can have both. I can sleep while the sun is up because I love that so much. And I can go through my ritual because it is so important to me. So then I create this space where I have both. Um, but not everything gets to knock you off course. Not everything gets to be an excuse. So on the day of my sister's funeral, which was such a hard, hard, hard day, like so not great. On the day of her funeral, I got up at 4:35 because I hadn't hit the hard yet. The morning was still fresh. Nothing had happened. I had gotten a decent night's sleep. It wasn't great, but it was decent. And I hadn't hit the hard yet. So I knew that I could get up and go through my routine. And so I did. The morning after, however, after that hard, exhausting, emotionally exhausting day, I didn't. I really didn't because I was spent from the day before. I was totally spent and I gave myself that allowance to just sleep and to just not have any external factors pushing me or whatever to try to. I didn't need to push myself. I had gone through an extremely difficult day and sleeping in was kind of my reward. And so I gave myself that. I gave myself that. Here's the really important thing when it comes to allowances and excuses. You are the ultimate authority on what that looks like for you. You know in your body, when you have been pushing, 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 and it's time to take a break and chill out. And you know when it's really just an excuse and you really could follow through, but you're choosing not to. I want to emphasize that you know, not necessarily anybody else. Really, actually, 100% not anybody else. No one else knows your capacity. No one else knows what you're capable of. No one else knows when you have dug down deep and you need to refill. No one else knows. I was on a trip recently with my family, and my husband has just started to implement his own morning workout routine, which is really kind of fun. And his ankle started to hurt. Like, I can't remember if it was right before we left, or I think it was right before we left. His ankle was really starting to hurt. And he got up that next morning. I was kind of surprised when he walked in the gym limping. He got up and he went through his workout routine. He went through his thing, and he didn't use it as an excuse. He went down there and he's like, well, I'm going to see what I can do. He's like, I probably at 20 minutes on the treadmill, which is his normal. He's like, probably not that, but what can I do? What can I do comfortably? What can I do, without hurting myself? What can I do? And he did that. But he could have very easily been like, I need to let my ankle get better. I'm not going to go. I'm not going to do anything. And that would have been understandable. I would have been like, yeah, I get that. Like, it's hard to work out when you've got an injury. Like, I get it. But he didn't do that. But either way, it wasn't my place to judge whether or not he needed to give himself a little break and allow himself to rest. And it wasn't my place to judge if he had used it as an excuse, to label that as an excuse. I could have done either way, but I was just like, he's going to do his thing. Like, he knows what he's capable of. He knows how bad it hurts. He knows his body. So it's not up to me. It's up to him. So you know, and this is something that maybe as you get into the habit of acknowledging when you need an allowance and when you are using it as an excuse, this is an opportunity for you to really ask yourself why you're about to do what you're about to do. Are you following through because this is super important to you and that's what, that's the person you are becoming and that's just the priority? It's non-negotiable. We are doing this thing. Or are you pushing through because you feel like you've got something to prove? Because you feel like if you don't follow through, then maybe you're not good enough. Or, you feel like if you don't push through, then it's all going to unravel. I guess that's a scenario too. I didn't even consider that till just now. We can have this distrust with ourselves of like, oh, if I miss today, then I'll probably miss tomorrow and then I'll miss the day after that. And then it'll just all be gone and gone to crap and oh well. So sometimes we do have to trust ourselves to be like, okay, this is just today. This is today and I can and will make a different choice tomorrow. And self-trust is really a thing for me too. I did this whole episode on trusting myself, and that was such an interesting episode to me. I have no idea what number it is, but I will try to find it and remember to put the number of the episode number in the show notes because it was such a good one on how it came to pass, on how it happened, how it came together. But trusting yourself is a real struggle. Like, well, at least it's a real struggle for me. So you have to be committed enough to know that you're not negotiating. You are giving yourself an allowance, a break to breathe, some room to heal, some room to recover, some room to fill your well. And you have to trust yourself to know, okay, really, this is just an excuse. I'm just being lazy. I don't want to do this. And I would invite you to think about if you are constantly coming up with excuses or encountering excuses and thinking about maybe taking those excuses, why? What's so enticing about the excuses? What do you not really want to do the thing? Do you not really want to create the habit? Do you not really want to be that person? And why? Why do you not want to do the things? Like, is this the right habit? Did you, dig deep and figure out who you want to become, but maybe it's not really rooted in who you want to become, but it's based on who people think you should become or what you think you should do? Why? Just start to dig into your motivations there. Why would I want to be taking these excuses over and over and over again? Allowances are really self-love. Like, I love myself enough to sleep in today and give myself a break. And excuses are really it's just information that maybe you're not on the right track. Maybe you don't really want it. Maybe this isn't really the thing. Maybe you should be shifting things. Maybe you should reevaluate. Maybe you should look at what it is you're trying to build or create or become. I would look at it that way. Don't beat yourself up for the excuses. Notice that you are enticed by these excuses, that you lean towards them, that you take them, and see that as information. Why? Why would I rather do this? What am I avoiding? What do I not want? What? Why? Like, why? And I love the practice of going 7 levels deep. So it's like, why do I not want to do this? Well, because it's not fun. Okay. You know, why do I feel like it's not fun? And just keep whatever your response is, you're like, okay, well, why that? And you go 7 levels deep and you get to a real core of it, like a real solid place of like, oh, that's really what I'm avoiding, or that's really the thing that I want, or that's really how I feel, or whatever it is. You get to this deep level because your taking excuses is really surface level of a deeper I don't want to say problem, but a deeper thing that you're not aligned with. A deeper thing that you don't really want, a deeper thing that you don't really want to create because it's scary, or because you don't think you can do it, or because you think people will hate you. There's so many reasons why. So it'd be very informative to know why you want to take these excuses rather than do the thing. So there you go. Allowance versus excuses. You are the ultimate authority on that. You know when you're being a weenie and taking excuses, and you know when you really should just pump the brakes, sit down, take a breath, let yourself recover or heal or whatever from whatever's going on, and then you can get back at it full force again. You know. And so consciously make those choices. See this as, a real option. Like, look at this. You're like, okay, well, I get to do what I want to do. I get to make this choice. Is this an allowance? How does that feel to me? Or am I just making excuses? How does that feel to me? And yeah, that's what I have for you today. This is powerful for anything that you want to do and anything that you want to create, but especially when you are working on a habit, when you're working on being committed to the person you want to become. Because that's going to get really uncomfortable. Of course, it's going to be uncomfortable because you're becoming a new version of yourself and you're doing it intentionally. And so it's going to be uncomfortable, and the world is going to ask you over and over and over again if you're serious, if this is what you really want, if this is what you're really going to do. And you get to respond. You get to choose how you respond. So that's what I have for you today. Thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate you. I am grateful for you, and I totally love you. Bye for now.